Hello, I'm Millie and I make stuff. Sometimes I know what I'm doing, most of the time I don't. Today I'm making a birthday gift for my longtime friend Jazz. These clayface stuffies are a super fun project that you can make at home. I've made one other one before for another friend's birthday and it also came out super cute. I figured this time I'd record my process so you can follow along. I start off with a stuffed animal that I found at the thrift store. I think it's a dog, but it doesn't have a tail, so not sure. Doesn't matter though, since it's going to become a one-of-a-kind creature by the end of this. For this project, I'm using lace ribbon, oven-baked clay, false lashes, wire, fishing line, paint, and RIT dye. I'm not a huge fan of the white fur, so my plan was to always dye it a more exciting color. I actually have a ton of colors left over from other projects, so I don't have to buy more dye. I went with this purple, although this is an all-purpose dye, which they say works with synthetic material, but in my experience, in order to get the brightest colors for plastic-based fabrics, you have to use their specific synthetic dye. This will still work though, but I know it won't be as vibrant. I go ahead and boil some water and dye it on the stove using a foil pan before rinsing the stuffy in some water and tossing it in the dryer. Time for the face. I have a bag of old UV resin parts I made years ago, and I have a ton of little domes that will work perfectly for eyes. I'm assuming that you don't have a bag of old resin parts, so if you're looking to make little clear domes like this, then you can buy silicone molds online that'll work perfect for the eyes. Just make sure your mold is meant for UV resin. Eyeballs are super easy to make. Just imagine painting the layers from the inside out. For the paint, I'm actually using UV gel nail polish, but you can use regular acrylic or even Sharpie or paper to layer the details. I'm using the UV polish only because I don't feel like waiting for the acrylic paint to dry. I start with the little white eye shines, then do the pupils, then the iris, and finally the eye whites. When you're done, the layers will be super enlarged like this. Now moving on to clay. I'm not a clay artist by any means, so I have no clue which kind of clay to buy. I went with the Sculpey Primo because I think it's supposed to be a softer clay, but don't quote me on that. It did the job, so I guess it doesn't matter, but my main priority was that it would harden in my oven at home. I didn't want to use air dry clay because I knew I wouldn't be patient enough to wait that long. Anyways, I start out with a disc and then cut out holes where the eyes will go. I can't place the eyes in the sockets just yet because I can't put the resin in the oven. At least I'm pretty sure. I didn't test it out, but I didn't want to mess up the eyes and have to make them again, so I'm choosing to leave the eyes out and I'll place them in once the face is done. I make little eyelids and a snout for her. I don't really have a plan on what kind of animal it's supposed to be. I really was just kind of adding what felt right. I decided I was going to use the button nose off of the original stuffed animal, so I grabbed my knife and gave her a quick nose job so I could steal the nose for my clay face. Next up is the hands and tail. I envisioned little grabby claw hands, so I figured they'd probably end up being pretty fragile. To remedy this, I made wire bones first. For the tail, I took a folded wire and twisted it using my power drill before I bent it into shape. I globbed on a ton of clay to the wire and then added fur texture. I made the hands very similarly, just sculpting the clay around the wire. I also decide I want her to have teeth, which I end up baking in the oven first so that I can squish them into the snout so they're nice and snug and won't move once the whole thing was hardened. I also pop in the eyes and make sure they fit through the back of the face, and this is when I add eyelids because I know I want to give her sparkly eyeshadow during the face up. I made sure to pop the eyes back out before baking them and moving on to painting. To make my life easier, I hot glue everything to stick so I can paint every surface without my fingers getting in the way. Trust me, the hot glue will not stick to the clay permanently. I knew I'd be able to just pop it off later. This is the best part because the creature really starts to come to life. I went with black because if you know Jazz, then you know black just suits their personality. I still wanted fun colors though because despite Jazz's monotone wardrobe, their personality has always been very bold. I went with hot pink to complement the lavender. To make sure the pink will show up brighter without needing to layer a ton of paint, I leave some of the white showing. I adhere the lashes, nose, and teeth with super glue, and for the whiskers, I use fishing line, which I also plug into place with super glue. To fix the eyes in place, I take a little bit of clay and squish it around the backside of the face and eyes. I won't bake this clay, but it should still be enough to hold the eyes in place. Then for the claws, I cut 6 small pieces of wire and superglue them onto the hands. I made sure to poke holes in the fingertips before I had baked the clay so that there'd be space for the claws in the end. To finish off her diva look, I paint the claws in the same UV gel polish that I used for the eyeshadow. Then finally, it was time to assemble it all. First things first, I need to remove the old Stuffie's face. As a child who was severely traumatized by Toy Story as a kid, this part has always been really hard for me. I cut out little holes for the hands and tail, and then pull out the ribbon to add a lace border around each clay piece. Everything gets secured with hot glue, and then she's done. I'm so happy with how she came out. It's giving rat, chihuahua, clown vibes, which I love. I feel like it's perfect. It's so perfectly creepy for Jazz. If you're into DIY projects, crafts, or art of any kind, be sure to subscribe. My ADHD has me bouncing from project to project, so there's always something new I'm working on. Thanks for watching.